LadyJ Griot. She is taking this to the stage and to us this morning to talk about the blues and the history of the blues and the meaning of the blues and how the blues is really about connection. It's about spiritual connection. It's about body to body, soul to soul connection, along with all tribal music. That is what the music is all about. She's here to share that with us this morning, along with her band members, Jack, Brian, and Dave. So please give them a well-deserved welcome for being here so early and rocking the house.
Thank you, Lake Harriet Spiritual Community, for asking us back. I am LadyJ Griot, and these are the Root Doctors. Brian Dyke. Everyone put your hands together for Brian. Brian Dyke, one of my root doctors here. And I hope that music opened you up to allow the magic to enter, because that's really what the blues is all about. As Laura said, the music is about connecting, it's about healing, and it's about the altered consciousness that's necessary for the shaman, the witch doctor, the healer, any religious specialist actually, has to be in a certain frame of mind. And the blues is about that experience. And with that in mind, I want you to come with me now as we step back to Africa. We're going to step back in time. We're going to do a chant that the shaman would do to lower the barrier in between the worlds so he or she can safely step across. More monitor, please. Yeah, go boy. I never want to stop it, it's so good. I draw down the power of the sun until the earth and her people are one. Let me spread magic till my life's work is done. I draw down the power of the stars, those earthbound and those on fire. Let my work here be without par. I draw down the power of the source to keep the earth and her people on course. Let my work here have spiritual force. Spirit, spirit, come to me. Spirit, spirit, come to me. Spirit, step across the line. Let thy power be mine. Give me power I can feel. Give me power to heal. Give me power that is real. Spirit. Spirit, spirit, come to me. Spirit, spirit, stay with me. Spirit, be me. An African chant. It's the kind of thing a shaman would say to step across that line. And why talk about that? That's the foundation for the sound in African tribal worship that became what we call 12-bar contemporary blues. You see, it's all about touching the sacred and allowing the sacred to touch you in return. They call me voodoo woman, and I know the reason why. They call me the voodoo woman, know the reason why. When I raise my hand, you know the sky began to cry. They call me the voodoo woman, I left the waters by dry land. They call me the voodoo woman, I left the waters by dry land. I can tell all you men, if your woman got another man. I got a rabbit's foot in my pocket, toad frog in my shoe, crayfish on my shoulder looking dead at you. Got dust from a rattlesnake, black spider bone. Yeah, that don't do it, baby. Leave it all alone. They call me voodoo woman, and I know the reason why. It's him. your shoulder looking dead at you. Got dust from a rattlesnake, a black spider bone. If that don't do it, baby, leave it all alone. Call me if it was a woman, and I know the reason why. I know why the sky cried. See the tears roll down my nose. 'Cause I work the voodoo. Where it goes, nobody knows. Voodoo. Or Voodoo, Candomblé, Santeria, it's all the same thing. It's all the basis for that which was African tribal religion. African worship that came with the slaves from Africa by way of the Northwest Passage, leaving their culture behind them, whether they stopped in Jamaica and Haiti and Brazil, all the way across South America to North America. We call it by many different names. It's still ancient African tribal religion, practiced by the slaves on the plantation, but underground. Because, of course, they would have gotten in trouble for practicing their own religion out in the open. That sound, the sound that is the drum and the rattle, is the sound the shaman has to listen to get himself back home again out of the trance. It's called animism. Archaeologists, anthropologists, scientists call it animism. It's the belief that everything is animated by divinity. Everything is. Trees, grass, flowers, ancestors, everything is still available for the shaman, for the healer to use in the practice of sympathetic magic, animism. Now, there's two sides to that practice, the light, of course, and the dark. And all that is about your consciousness, where your consciousness is. When you are in a state of altered consciousness, you can do good or bad. And sometimes, when you do bad, when you misuse your power, power finds a way to misuse you in return. Power makes sure that everyone can see what you're up to. Power, spirit, makes sure negativity hangs over you like a shadow. The old folks, they can see that in you. And they say, child, you was born under a bad sign. Everybody passed me by. Standing at the crossroads, right as the sun goes down. I was standing at the crossroads, right as the sun goes down. I believe to my soul, believe that I'm sinking down. Larson, Mr. Jack Taylor. Something evil this way comes. Now you know the origin of that kind of music. I apologize. This is the first time I've ever used a headset, and I'm used to studio microphones, which are a little bit different. So I get too close to that thing, and it starts to buzz, and this buzzes too. The vault wasn't made for this. Next time I'll put it in some pants or something. But that kind of music usually is associated with the blues pretty regularly. You hear those lyrics and you know the origin of it. It is about that. It's about being conscious of what you attract into your life. Because when you attract evil, everybody can see it. And they can see it in you. It hangs over you like a cloud. Now, you might not think so, but everybody else knows who the negative people are and who to avoid. Everybody else wants to blame others for the negative things that goes on in their life, but they need to check themselves. That's what the lyrics of the blues are all about. It's about being conscious of what you attract, because honor, love, and respect are what you're supposed to be attracting into your life. Also, some of the good things in life as well. Live a charmed life. And when you do, you will find your life sweet as honey. And you will find your life will be buzzing like a bee. Well, I'm a queen bee, buzzing round your hive. Yes, honey, I'm a queen bee, buzzing round your hive. I can make honey, baby, let me come inside. I'm young and I'm able to buzz all night long. Yes, honey, I'm young and I'm able. I can buzz all night long. When you hear buzzing, baby, there's some stinging going on. Sting a while. I'm so used to getting close to these guys. We got to move this so they can cue me. Buzzing like a bee is a part of altered consciousness. It's a part of shape-shifting, which, of course, the lead chieftain, male or female, could do. They could stalk like a wolf because they believed it. They could be strong as a bear, especially going into battle, because they believed it, because their altered consciousness told them so. And, of course, they learned to sting like a bee because they believed it. And that tune, written by Mr. James Moore, but you probably know him as Slim Harpo, and it comes from that tribal background. He was a New Orleans musician. The kind of blues that he created was called swamp blues. But it's still, even though New Orleans, it's still plantation-based, it's still African-based. It still comes from his connections to Africa and ancient African tribal worship, which is about animism, taking on the aspects of the tribal creatures that were sacred to the tribe and to the ancestors. Now, there's another aspect of plantation life that came from Africa with the slaves, but probably grew to fruition on the plantation in the South, and it's something called playing the dozens. You may have heard of it, you may not have. It's a form of verbal combat, mostly by the men. Men engaged in this combat with one another, because even under oppression or subjugation, men still want to compete with one another for something, for anything. And playing the dozens, it was a way of verbal combat. And truthfully, sometimes, verbal swords were sharper than any physical sword. And as any blues tune can tell you, the object of playing the dozens is to back the offender off of you, using words only, and making sure that him or her found another way to engage in their unpleasant behavior, as long as it wasn't around you. Neighbor, neighbor, don't worry what goes on in my home. You always looking for something to gossip about. You're running around, running your mouth about things you don't know. Neighbor, neighbor, don't worry what goes on in my home. Neighbor, neighbor, don't worry who knocks on my front door. I hear you walking, talking, you're pacing all over the floor. I hear you peeping, sweeping through the hall, keeping your big ears glued to my wall. Neighbor, neighbor, don't worry what goes on in my home. Something bad's gonna happen to you. Neighbor, neighbor, don't worry what goes on in my home. Tend to your business, leave mine alone. I'm telling you, neighbor, I can take care of my own. Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure you recognize the basis of that kind of lyrics in the blues. Still, it's based in plantation life. It's based on life on the plantation, which also comes from, of course, in Africa and a tribal way of living. Now, there's also another aspect of the blues that is what attracted me to it so much. It's that quiet little voice that you hear in between the notes. Blues, unlike rock and roll or its sisters sound, R&B or soul or even funk, blues is so quiet and it leaves so much space in between. And why? For the voice of spirit to enter and to enter you and to enter the musicians. That quiet little voice that we call intuition is really spirit calling to you, asking you to be its voice in this world, asking you to share love, honor, respect, and connection. That quiet little voice that you hear is power. Hear a little voice deep inside, whispering so sweet and low, telling me to go get my baby. I wonder where did it go? Gonna go get my baby, but where I don't know. He may be down in Mississippi with his old lady, I know, but this little voice deep inside of me keeps telling me I gotta go. Gonna go get my baby, but where I don't know. Heading to Indianola. Deep inside of me, so it won't worry me so. Gonna go get my baby, but where I don't know. Gonna go get baby, but where I don't know. Gonna go get my baby, but where I don't know. Thank you much. You see, the blues is about living a life that you love and giving love out into the world. That's the real message of the blues. Staying connected to the higher power and to the people in your life. You do that by keeping love and honor foremost in your mind. The lyrics of the blues tell you what happens if you don't. Contrary to what most people believe, they say the blues is all about feeling down about bad things that happen to you. Blues is about overcoming those things, transcending those things. The music is a vehicle that allows you to transcend all the negative things that happened around you. That music is the beacon that got the shaman safely back home, or he and she would be lost forever on the astral plane. If they didn't have that sound, the thumping of the drum, the rattling of the rattle, which was really bones, it really was, in a gourd. If they didn't have that sound to get back, they would be lost. So the sound that became the blues is a sound that says, you've made it home. Everything is fine. You found your safe haven. And now, everything is going to be all right.
Everything gonna be alright. Yes, I say everything's gonna be alright. When we get together, baby, we can make love, can we? Baby, can I hold your words in? I said, yeah, yeah. I wanna pull your words in. I wanna do things to you, baby, to make you happy every day. Here I am, wrapped up in love again. Here I am, wrapped all up in love again. 'Cause when I look for everything is gonna be alright. Because Little Walter Jacobs, who wrote that tune, he said it was so. Master musician and harmonica man, Little Walter Jacobs. Brian Dyke, Dave Larson, Jack Taylor. Another aspect of altered consciousness is having second sight or clairvoyance, clear seeing. This means having knowledge that no one else seems to have, like knowing what's about to happen or being able to feel trouble brewing. Someone like that was avoided by the slave community, or they were relied upon in times of crisis. They were known as Jacquie to the slaves. You see, we actually forgot that Jacquie is really a tribe in Africa called Kizi. We forgot. We lived a life somewhere in between our African life and our newly learned English life. And we created words that fit in between those two things. And it shows up in the blues over and over again. Words like little Johnnie Conkeroo, my cousin little Johnnie Conkeroo. That's really a root for healing. Low John the Conqueror root. You can find it at present moment. It's a real root. Words like juke. You hear it in jukebox or juke joints. It's an African word. It means making love. A juke joint was a shack cleared out on a Saturday night and used by the young people to mingle, let's say, outside the eyes of their parents and the elders, because again, it does take a village to raise a child. There's another term that has gotten kind of a bad rap in these contemporary times, but just like Jacquie, it's a term that just means someone who still remembers the old African ways. Like you might call somebody country. They come up here from Alabama and they're still wearing their brogans and overalls. You might call them country. On the slave plantation, they were called Jacquie. There's another term. And when you call somebody a hoochie coochie, it has gotten a bad rap. But really, all it means is that you recognize somebody's power. You recognize their sexual power. And usually, it's power over you. Hoochie coochie. Gypsy woman told my mama on the day I was born, you're gonna have a girl child's coming. She's gonna be a girl of a gun. She's gonna make these men jump and shout. Then the world's gonna know what it's all about. You know I'm here. Everybody knows that I'm here. Well, I'm your hoochie coochie woman. Everybody knows that I'm here. In the seventh hour, on the seventh day, in the 7th month, seven doctors say that I was born for good luck, and that you can see, 'cause honey, I got me $700. Don't you mess with me, you know I'm here. Everybody knows that I'm here. Ain't going nowhere. Well, I'm your hoochie coochie woman, Jacquie, and everybody knows that I'm here. Gonna work the roots for you just a little while. Me and the root doctors. you better watch them boys. 'Cause this little girl here, she gonna make them jump for joy. She's gonna make these men jump and shout. Then the world's gonna know what it's all about. You know that I'm here. Everybody knows I'm here. Well, I'm your hoochie coochie woman, and everybody knows I'm here. Ain't going nowhere. Working the roots. Go right to black magic. Right around, yes. The Root Doctors. Brian Dyke. Dave Larson. And the master, Jack Taylor. Put your hands together for these Root Doctors. Thank you all for joining us. We had a swell time here with you. Now, when people ask me what is the blues, I can tell them it's all about connection, body to body, soul to soul, and consciousness to consciousness. And I'm going to return your consciousness back to you, and I want to thank you all for coming out and joining us. Namaste. Thank you. I'm Jacquie Maddix, LadyJ Griot, and the Root Doctors. Thank you all. Laura? Thank you. Thank you.
LadyJ Griot and the Root Doctors. Now, how is that for a Sunday morning? You don't get that everywhere.